Hello again. I know that you've clicked on my page that talks about DUI and DUI defense. And again, DUI is a unique crime in that it's a crime that does not require any intent. Most crimes require an intent. So what is really at issue in a DUI case is your status, meaning how you are at a particular moment in time. Probably when the law enforcement officer stopped your vehicle or saw you getting out of a vehicle or something to do with a vehicle. And so the whole focus of the case is what you had to drink, or whether you perhaps were using some sort of drug that could affect your ability to safely operate a vehicle. And then how you looked, because how you look, and in today's world most of the DUI officers, not all of them, have video cameras, and they generally, but not always, take a video of you once you get out of the vehicle, your conversation with the officer, including the alleged field sobriety exercises or tests that you've commonly seen on TV and YouTube. And so if you've been stopped for a DUI, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So the case revolves around two or three important aspects. One, what you can prove or not prove about your drinking or use of any other drugs. Two, how your driving looks, because many of the officers will actually videotape your driving. And so their viewpoint is highly geared to finding the most minimal type of deviations. Ooh, he almost touched the line. Well, you know what? The lanes are usually 10 to 12 feet wide. Most people almost touch the line. So we go from the process of what a reasonable person would view the video to what the police interpreted, and of course generally their interpretation is quite geared and leaning towards you're impaired. So what that videotape looks like, what you sound like, because they also have an audio portion, how you speak. As an example, a client was stopped for DUI, but he had just called his girlfriend and left a phone message on her cell phone. We got the information from that phone message. And the officer said this person, the defendant, had very slurred speech. Yet 5 minutes before, we have a recording that sounds quite normal. So those types of things can debunk the officer's opinions about other things that we don't have evidence on. The adage is falsus in unus, falsus in omnibus. False in one thing, false in all things. So that then leads to maybe the biggest part of a DUI case, the breath test, which is generally administered to any person who is arrested and the cops believe have probable cause to say that that person is driving while under the influence of alcohol. In our circuit, the breath test has had a tremendous amount of controversy, and in this video I'm not going to be able to get into that. But suffice it to say, there is controversy about the approved nature of this breath test, number one, which you're only required to submit to a, quote, approved test. And two, what is really the science behind these breath tests, and is it reliable to the degree that the police and law enforcement want to claim and state that it is? And so if this is a case of a repeat DUI and you're looking at perhaps jail and lengthy suspension of driving licenses, then the case escalates into being worth having to get experts to come in and dispute and to show that this machine does not truthfully do what is claimed, that is to measure breath alcohol to the thousands. 0.081 would equal a measurement to 1/1000th of a degree, and that's a very, very small amount. So those are the basics of DUI. You obviously in a DUI have the right to a jury trial of 6 persons, and there are also a number of pretrial motions that relate to these things that I've talked about, the manner and means of the field exercises, the way that the breath test was presented, the manner that the breath test was done by a qualified or not technician, maintenance issues with that specific breath test machine, because obviously there are numerous of these machines spread out throughout the jurisdiction. Those are some of my thoughts on DUI. It is a serious crime because it affects your driving privileges immediately, even if it's a first offense. If you refuse the test, your license will be administratively suspended, and you will have a short period of time after that suspension in order to request an administrative hearing with the Bureau of Motor Vehicles in order to contest the administrative suspension. So it's important to get in touch with a lawyer and talk with him or her about your rights pertaining to your driver's license. And then, if you're convicted of DUI, in addition to many penalties that would be imposed, another suspension of your driving privileges would occur at that point. So in American society, almost every person over the age of 16 has or wants to have a driver's license. Our whole society relates to driving to work, to school, to home, for vacation, for pleasure, for business. So without a driver's license, you lose a tremendous amount of your freedoms and your rights. And so that's another area of DUI which is extremely important to every person charged with that crime. Again, I would ask you, if you're interested, to give me a call. I'll be happy to discuss your particular case and your circumstance, to try to get the video of your roadside exercises. There is also another potential video at the jail when you're booked. Those videos can be quite helpful in some cases. In some cases, there's a video in the breath test room itself. So that evidence is time sensitive, and you need to take action to get it. Otherwise, it just becomes lost over time. Hey, thanks for checking in on this part of my website. If you want to talk about your case, I'd love to do it. Give me a call. I'll be happy to talk to you at your convenience. Thank you.